A very good morning, dear students. So we have already revised Mowgli chapter from your from your reader, and today we are about to revise the first chapter from your Rapid. That is the book of the name of the book is A Tale of Two Cities, and the name of the chapter is The Coach to Dover. So I told you that earlier that Charles Dickens is a personality who wrote a lot about the then history, contemporary history. His novels, his stories are full of characters and they are containing his autobiographical element. There are some people who says that Dickens wrote, he dipped his pen in his own blood and he wrote. This is said or especially because you can find uh, so much autobiographical element in his writings. And another prominent characteristic is that most of his novel stories, they are full of characters. So many characters appear there. So if you are reading a novel written by Charles Dickens, it is better you keep the track of the characters, their interrelations and all these things. So this story actually begins with the quest for a young girl for her lost father. When the girl was young, almost probably 2 years old, yes, right at that time her father suddenly disappeared one day, and from then onwards they had to live through utter penury, abject poverty. But still, there was a person called Mr. Lorry, an employee with Tellson Bank. He helped the mother and the daughter. The mother died soon after the disappearance of the daughter's father, Miss Manethy, her father, and he brought Miss Manethy to England to bring her up. That's how the story begins here uh, with an introduction to the then society, contemporary society of England and France, and what was going on there, what kind of things are happening. We come across a character, Mr. Jarvis Lorry, as I said earlier, an employee of the Tellson Bank, and he is traveling to Dover, a place in England, and from Dover, yes, he was traveling to Dover. He was an employee of the Tellson Bank, and when he was about to get onto the carriage that was set for Dover, a messenger comes and informs him something. Then certain incidents follows, and those incidents includes the mention of two more characters, Miss Pross, who is the governess of Miss Lucy Manethy. Again, one more character, Lucy Manethy, is there. Their descriptions are given there, and some information Mr. Lorry has extracted, and he shared the information with Miss Manethy, and this information is nothing about the whereabouts of Miss Manethy's father, long lost father. So Viva is there, and he will have to answer some questions which will be asked during Viva. Let me revise and the whole chapter through some question answer methods. These are the probable questions, and that kind of questions will be asked during Viva. Suppose if I start it from the beginning of the story, the thing that I can tell you, that I can ask you, is the first line, that where it is mentioned, some opposite things have been mentioned, that were living side by side, that were existing and growing side by side. And I will ask you, what are the things that grew side by side? Answer will be wisdom, foolishness, belief, incredulity, light, darkness, hope, and despair. Those are the things that flourished, mushroomed, grew, burgeoned side by side. And then I might ask you to mention the year uh, when a king and queen were ruling ruling in England and France. The year is 1775. That is 18th century. And what flourished in France? Yes, the answer should be the clergy flourished in France. And especially I might also ask you that what fate or what happened with those people who showed disobedience to the clergy that grew in France? And the answer should be that they had to meet a sad fate, means they were either imprisoned or they were hanged. And I might also ask you that what was going on in England right at that time, what kind of society England was experiencing right then. The answer should be that in England also there was unrest, and during burglaries uh, had been happening and continuously, and people used to travel with guns for their safety because they knew that at any point of time they might be robbed. So getting robbed became the order of the day right at that time. And because that kind of plundering, robbery, all these things were in vogue, so uh, the hangman also was busy hanging those criminals who have been caught by the police. But hanging could not curb the growth of uh, criminal activities. That's why, because that's kind of society there was. People were hungry, they were desperate for food, and on the other side, there was some section of the society who were enjoying excess of food. So, right, that kind of society will never allow you to live in peace, and peace will never reign in such a society. That's why, though there were oppression, repression, everything from the government's part, from the ruling part, but it could not curb the growth of criminal activities there in Britain and in France also, in both the places. I might also ask you to explain the phrase that the hangman was busily occupied hanging criminals of all shades, especially criminals of all shades. That says that all criminal from all walks, I mean from different walks of life, exactly. They were black, they were white, all kinds of criminals, because there was not only one section or one particular uh, race of people that were opulent and others were deserted, or they were living in abject poverty. That is not the fact. Actually, the fact is here that for both the sections, means whether that person is a white person or is a black person, that doesn't matter. People in general, they were suffering from abject poverty. And questions may come like on which day and what was the time of the day that the coach was ready to travel to Dover. That was the Friday and it was night. So it was a Friday night when the coach was ready to travel to Dover. And the coach was waiting at the Shooter's Hill. So question may arise that where did the people climb to take the coach? They had to climb the Shooter's Hill. And what was the name of the messenger who reached right then when the coach was about to set on and asked for Mr. Lorry? His name is Jerry. Okay. He was the messenger who came there and informed and asked for Mr. Lorry, and he handed him over some message. I might also ask you that what was written in the message. you need to say that you must wait for Ma'am Sally in Dover. That was the quotation which was written in the message. And I'll also ask you, where did Mr. Lorry take shelter, and in what was the name of the hotel actually? So you should say that this was a Royal Scent Hotel, and there he took shelter and informed the what is it called, receptionist, that a girl might have come. And in that case, if the girl takes my name or Telson Bank, you please let her sit in that room, in the meeting room. There I will meet. And later we come across that a girl of 17 visits the hotel in search of Mr. Lorry, and there is a beautiful description of the girl which is given there. I might also ask you, give the appearance of the girl who met Mr. Lorry at the Royal Scent Hotel. So the answer will be that she was a short, slight, pretty figure with golden hair and blue eyes. That kind of girl she was, and she was about 17, like that. Then I also ask you that whose information was shared with that girl. That was the information about his father. And where did Miss Manity's father live? Answer should be Bivish, in France. And whom did he marry? An English lady. And when did Miss Manity's father disappear? When answer should be when she was only 2 years of age, only 2 years old. And yes, one more thing was there, that yes, what happened with Miss Manity's father, that he had to undergo a rigorous prison. Okay. And there, because he had been jailed, and when he came out of jail he was withered and he was very weak. And what did he do after coming out of the jail? Answer should be that he started living with his old servant and in France. And then how did the news of Miss Manity's father being alive affect her? That's answer should be that she was so shocked that she almost fainted on hearing the news of her father being alive, because it has been long since she has been searching, and she stopped thinking probably that her father is alive. Now all of a sudden he come across the news that the father whom I have been searching since years, he is alive and he is living in France. He had been jailed, and once he came out of the jail, he started living with his old servant, and he is still in France. There is a chance that I can meet my long lost father, whom I cannot remember. So these are the thing happens. Then Miss Pross, who was Miss Pross? Miss Manity's governess. He came and treated her to regain her strength. Then Miss Manity regained her strength and boldly decided to visit France in order to meet her long lost father. So that's how the questions will be asked. And during that time, unless your English 2 exam commences, I will be sending you model questions through this online platform and through these video lectures. These will help you a lot in order to find out the correct answer, in order to get acquainted with the type of questions that will be asked during the Viva. So I hope you will revise all these things, and you will come up with flying colors during the exam. Especially you will score high. So with that hope, let me stop the class for today. Let's call it a day. We will meet again, students. Tata.